Hi, everyone. Kevin Shipp back again after a bit of a few attacks on our sites. Uh, we had to work with that over the last 3 days. So I'm back in the Ascent Studios, located somewhere deep in the southeastern United States. Being attacked from all sides as usual, but welcome to my world. This is an important program as I dig deeper into the CIA's primary role in the shadow government, and how extensive the CIA's reach is into our country and into our lives. And that's not even counting NSA. Now, the two will bleed back and forth into each other, but specifically the CIA. Of course, as you know, it has a very dark and sordid past, and the CI contributes to movies and other things to make it look like it's a good agency now, but it is still doing the same types of things. They're just doing them differently. So this is an important program, and I'm presenting this early right now for you all because, of course, you're my priority, my Patreon sponsors and donors, and so you're getting this first. I'm going to be digging very deep into the CI and what it's doing. And it's quite shocking. It's quite alarming. And then we'll talk a little bit what we can or can't do about it. And if we can't do anything about it, what we can do to protect ourselves. So welcome again. Someone was able to, and I have an idea who it is, hack way through into my videos and actually download them through all the security walls. And I have a very good web developer who works with me. He's a Fortune 500 guy, works with me just because he likes what I'm doing, supports what I'm doing, and he fixed it. So bizarre, you know, you do all this work and you put all these things together, you do the research and stuff, and then these booger heads come in and try to hack into your stuff from all sides. Both, I think, from my former agency, I know, and some other private hackers out there like Dennis Montgomery, creator of the Hammer hoax, who I think is trying to penetrate my computers also. So, you know, welcome to my world. But why do I keep doing this? I keep doing this because I love our constitutional form of government. And the CIA has usurped that, circumvented that, and done some pretty horrific things in its past and its present that the American people don't even know about, and billions of tax dollars are spent on without our knowledge. That's why I do what I do. And of course, I've seen the belly of the beast from the inside. I've seen it cover up myself. I've seen documents destroyed and deleted that the CIA did not want the public to see. So I've seen them do it, been there. And if you've seen any of my programs on the shadow government expose, you'll see that in detail. So let's get into this, everyone. And I try to take a whole lot of information and put it into high-level slides. This would, if we were to go into this in detail and just written text, this would go on for 2-3 hours. And none of us have the time to do that. And plus, I want to get this information to you fast and quickly. Frankly, this is what I used to do in the CIA. I used to take complex intelligence reports, and I'd have to brief senior officials, and I would distill them down into very quickly and easily readable slides and discussions so they could get the information fast, which many times they demanded. And so I want to do that for you all too. So let's get into this, and let's start talking about where the CIA is now, currently. This is going on right now, everybody, and what CIA is involved in. In my last presentation here, I put this graphic up just to show you the extent, global, massive, worldwide extent and reach of the CIA. Excuse me. I see a picture of CIA headquarters here, where I spent 17 years of my career. And below this, all across the globe, the CIA's reach is vast. It is a dark system of espionage. Billions of dollars flow through dark networks unknown to anyone. It employs people that have at the higher levels, that have no morals whatsoever, and are willing to do anything. And let me just state here too that probably at least 2/3 of the employees that work for the CIA are good people, good patriotic people. Now, the CIA has gone woke. Starting 1994, it went into the woke culture, attacking white employees and specifically white male employees as privileged. And that started in the CIA back in 94. And you all know that I wrote an internal memo which caused a firestorm, and someone has leaked that to the internet. The CIA now is culturally, if I can use that term, it's a mess. And wokeism has taken over the CIA, and we can expect some serious errors, which I saw when I was there. And I'm talking breaches of national security. The errors were so big because they're taking unqualified people, denying promotions from the ones that have been there for years and are qualified, taking unqualified people under the guise of quote unquote diversity, which it is not, and putting these people that are not qualified in positions, and they're making some huge mistakes. And that is going to continue. The problem is with the huge mistake that I saw, because it's all classified in secret, no one knows about it. And the CIA conceals its massive mistakes. So you're not going to hear about these unless a whistleblower comes out willing to risk his or her life to expose these things. All right, let's go on. Now, I'm not going to go through this in detail. If you've seen my shadow government presentations, I have this slide that I created that shows you the size and the massive extent of the shadow government, meaning the secret government. The government that is shrouded, controlled, ruled, and uses the power of secrecy in complete violation of the Constitution. And this is how massive it is. These are all the agencies involved in what I call the shadow government. Shadow meaning hidden and secret. It's huge. And in my presentation, I go into the role of each one of these. Just picture that this apparatus is now being aimed at Americans through, quote unquote, the new war on domestic terror. That should chill everybody to the bone. Yes, we need to look for domestic terrorist groups out there, no doubt about that. But this is being targeted at the American people at large. This massive system, directly connected into Silicon Valley, and everybody, I'm going to get into that into great detail. Silicon Valley has become an arm of the shadow government, and that is not an understatement, as you'll see later on. Also, what people don't know about, I revealed in one of my first shadow government lectures, and frankly, I wasn't sure if I was going to be a free man the next day, but this had to be said. There's a secret intelligence industrial complex in addition to the military industrial complex that does the bidding and the work for the CIA and the NSA. And it employs these massive multi-billion-dollar corporations. Lockheed Martin, for example, does a lot of the surveillance and spying for the CIA. That's the way the CIA loves to do things. They love to use third parties so they can get away with it and they can hide behind that. Booz Allen Hamilton Lockheed are two of the biggest. CACI did the torture program for the CIA. SAIC was behind the bungling of the NSA Thin Thread program, which lost $7 million and no one knew about. This is an entire separate secret intelligence industrial complex that is functioning. $50 billion annually, secretly, of our tax revenue. And as with the shadow government I just showed you, all their work is top secret and unreported. They are accountable to no one, not to Congress, not to we the people. Now, across this country, everybody, if you're living anywhere in well, just almost every state, you can ask somebody and find out that they're working for the government, quote unquote. Give you some examples. The CIA, tens of thousands of employees, all bound by CIA secrecy agreements. The NSA, tens of thousands of Americans employed by the NSA. The 15 other agencies underneath the Director of National Intelligence, tens of thousands more employees. We're up in the millions and millions. And then, of course, you have the military industrial complex, and that is massive. Hundreds of thousands of employees, Americans, in this intelligence system. Now, what's the problem with that? The problem with that is millions of Americans are bound, many of them by the secrecy agreement, from ever talking about what they do, even if they see something that's grossly unconstitutional, because they are threatened with prison, their careers are ruined, And no one, with the exception of a handful at best, no one is willing to risk their retirement, their family's income, and they've got this many people under their thumb. I'm not, and they're good people. Most of them are good people, but this is very complex, and a very brilliant system has got all these people across America under its control. Remember Chuck Schumer said this on Rachel Maddow show. He said this. Now, Chuck Schumer, by the way, Chuck Schumer goes all the way back to interactions with Roy Cohn, mafia boss and child trafficker Roy Cohn. That is not an understatement. I'll be digging into the CIA connections with that much later. He said this, and he was referring to Donald Trump. If you cross the intelligence community, they, the CIA and NSA, have 6 ways, and you can include the FBI intelligence in that. They, the CIA, NSA, and FBI, have 6 ways from Sunday at getting back at you. Your humble correspondent knows that personally, because that's what they did to me, tried to do to me after I blew the whistle. And frankly, everybody, and my secular followers, bear with me, I'm a person of very strong faith, and that's what they didn't bank on. I answer to a higher authority. I'm not afraid of them. And they figured that out, and they freaked. All right, Chuck Schumer. Now, Alan Dulles, I am absolutely convinced, directly involved in the assassination of John F. Kennedy Jr., who was going to break up the CIA into 1,000, splinter into 1,000 pieces, unquote. Dulles met secretly with other former CIA managers after he was fired by Kennedy, plotting and planning how to remove John F. Kennedy. And as happens with the shadow government and deep state, guess who they put in charge of the Warren Commission investigating the assassination of JFK? Alan Dulles, the guy who I think was directly involved, and there's plenty of evidence to show that. Then you have Robert Kennedy, also a patriot, crossed the mafia, crossed the CIA. The CIA was directly working with the mafia. More on that later. Robert F. Kennedy became a threat to the CIA and to the mafia, and he was assassinated. And I am convinced, everybody, that also was a direct CIA hit. And I have an entire program. If you go in and you search Robert F. Kennedy on this channel, you'll see my program proving that Sirhan Sirhan was not the only shooter. There was at least one more shooter, and the LAPD, who was trained by the CIA, by the way, did a program on that. There's evidence for that. Sirhan Sirhan was not the only shooter. The LAPD ripped out and removed a door frame with shots fired from the other direction and burned it. Sirhan Sirhan, in my opinion, I think was an MK Ultra subject. After they examined him multiple times, the reports were from the examiners, he was one of the easiest subjects to put under hypnosis that they had ever seen. One actually had him climbing his cell, acting like a monkey. I think Sirhan Sirhan was a triggered MK Ultra subject, and I am not saying that lightly. I think the evidence is there for that. You can see how deadly dangerous the shadow government is. Now, remember in my case, and I won't go into this in detail, I came out, filed suit against them for the poisoning of my family, and this is how they do it. They put me under a gag order, which they would not let me or my attorney see for 2 years, and when we finally got them to cough it up, this is what I got. A document so blacked out, we didn't even know, my attorney and I didn't even know what I was gagged by, and that was the whole point. For me to talk about something and them to come back and say I violated the gag order and try to put me in prison for that. They were trying everything they could to silence me, including invoking the state secrets privilege, demanding because they invoked the state secrets privilege, I could not mention my evidence against them to anyone, my attorneys, or even my family, or my family's members couldn't talk about what they knew. They invoked the state secrets privilege and threatened me with prison if I violated. Now, as a constitutionalist, as a person who has strong personal faith, after thinking about that for some time, praying about that, I decided not under my constitution, you don't. I serve a higher authority. This is gross tyranny. This is gross abuse of our constitutional government. And so I violated the state secrets privilege. And I came out, and you'll find on kevinship.com in the blue bar up there, I revealed all the documents that they tried to black out for the entire world to see. And then I published From the Company of Shadows, which they blacked out, about my family's poisoning to cover up the break-ins, the threats. Sadly for them, I was them, so I built a code into From the Company of Shadows that exposes their blackouts. And if you have a copy of the book, that code is in there. You know, as they say, you can mess with a man, but you do not mess with a man's family. They made my wife and children desperately ill from exposure to a toxin in the house where I was ordered to live as a second in command on this base. And they became deathly ill. And that's a subject of another program, which many of you have probably seen. Now, look at this. They are still, as you can imagine, they're still after me because I know a whole lot more than I'm saying. Now, they're so narcissistic, they've got an entire psych profile on me, which is another funny thing because I saw the file once, had a bunch of documents ripped up and taped together and put back in it. But anyway, they're still trying to silence me. Now, I'm not an Edward Snowden. I'm not going to come out and pull a Snowden. They know what I know from the basement to the 7th floor and all around the world and all of the operations I was involved in. They're terrified that I'm going to have had enough and just let it all hang out. Well, I'm not going to do that. They should know that by now. I revealed what they did to my family. I revealed the illegal activity that they did there. I don't need to discuss anything else. But they still are after me and they want to silence me. Here's an example. This is being circulated around the internet by a certain party. Lady named Mary Fanning, who has all the flags of a CIA operative. And you will see more on that coming out shortly. But this is what they're putting out. Shipp, the deep state stooge. Shipp protects the deep state by claiming the hammer was a hoax. And it was a hoax, and I prove it. And there's going to be more coming on that. So stand by. Now, let me caution you all. I'm a big fan of Mike Lindell and his testimony, but Mike has been hoodwinked. And this same Mary Fanning has got Mike Lindell believing that her information from the fraud Dennis Montgomery, because he's good. He takes information. He made information he had look like it came from NSA thin thread by manipulating the code. That's what he does. That's what he's done here. I put warnings out to several people not to trust Montgomery or his data. And so far, no one has listened. Well, there have been some people that have listened, and other people are even taking the hammer and exploring it further and exposing it further. God bless them for that. And there's some really good ones out there. So the attack on me is still out there through a third party. In my opinion, Mary Fanning is, if I was to design a CI operative, she would fit the bill 100%. So the attacks continue. Now, I want to go through this as I close. And you can't really call this a close because I have a lot of talk about here. This is so complex, so far-reaching that I put it in this high-level diagram so you can catch the gist of it. I will be breaking each one of these down in detail as we go through this complex revelation on the CIA and the shadow government. CIA is directly connected to Google. Google was founded with CIA scientists and CIA money, and the algorithms were developed with the help of the CIA. Yes, that's true. Google conceals that information, but when I do a program on Google, I will show you the facts and the evidence that Google began by the CIA with scientists building the algorithms and with money to start Google. And we can see what Google is doing now. Google is a monster. And it is connected, as you can see, with these other things. The CIA now owns and runs Amazon. Amazon's cloud computing is all run by the CIA because Jeff Bezos fell in the trap. We'll give you $600 million if you take a CIA contract to help build your cloud. And Bezos, obviously being an easy work, easy puppet, fell into it and entered into a contract for $600 million with the CIA. The CIA is now controlling everybody, the Amazon cloud, which is storing, using even Department of Defense data, data on you, data on me in the cloud, on the Amazon cloud, which Amazon markets as a great benefit to all of us. The Amazon cloud is controlled by the Central Intelligence Agency. Palantir, I want you to remember this name. Palantir is an offshoot of the DoD Total Information Awareness Program. I'll talk about that in a moment. Palantir is a private company that is staffed primarily by former DARPA members and CI officers. Palantir is creating a database on everyone in the United States, all of our personal and bio data. And if you connect that through Google, Google has everything we use on our phones, everything we write, our searches, our texts, our telephone calls, emails, Gmail, everything Google has. And they have already, everybody, built a database on us all. It's a little too late because they've already got it. But Palantir is a private hidden company that is building this database on behalf of the CIA on all of us. The Total Information Awareness Program, and look at this symbol, isn't that interesting? The Total Information Awareness Program by the DoD was a program set up as a pre-crime database to gather information on every single American, what they do, what they say, what they write, what they email, what they buy, the magazines they read, the books they subscribe to, or magazines they subscribe to, the books they read, every single thing they do in their personal life. The TIA, Total Information Awareness Program, was collecting and gathering all that information until the outrage hit Congress, and Congress shut the Total Information Awareness Program down, and they make it look like it went away. No, it didn't go away. It became Palantir. Not only is it worse, it is now getting deep into AI, artificial intelligence, that has gone beyond imagination. CIA controls the satellite program. National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, while it was under the CIA, eventually it allegedly came out as its own agency, like the NRO, National Reconnaissance Office. But the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, under the CIA, helped create, guess what? Google Earth, which can come right down from a satellite and look at the door to your home or you on any street in any place in the world. Ladies and gentlemen, that was created and came from the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency under the CIA. The National Reconnaissance Office, that controls all of the spy satellites under the CIA. Then our NRO, once its cover was blown, came out and now say that their own agency. You can't believe a thing they say because it's all secret. It's classified, and it's for the protection of quote unquote national security, and that's their version of national security, not the constitutional version. The CIA, if you look at the little figure of the United States, all those little dots are every place that there is a fusion center in the United States. Fusion centers are occupied by local police. They have an FBI agent in there. And guess who else? They have a CIA officer in every single one of these fusion centers in every state in the United States. What do the fusion centers do? They collect information on us. HARPA. Keep your eyes on this. HARPA, or ARPA-H. This is the new health monitoring system that the Biden administration is trying to get passed. Building technologies to cure disease. It's all about curing disease. It's all about preventing COVID. And that, if you're, please follow the COVID news from credible sources. This is getting scary in terms of what they're using it for. But the HARPA database, which they're trying to put in place right now, is created to build a biometric database, an artificial intelligence database, which is collecting all of our biological and personal information. They want to collect, and this goes into wearable technology, which Amazon is pushing now. HARPA wants to monitor the biometrics of every person to make sure that they can stop COVID and to cure disease, when in reality, they're building the most massive, complex artificial intelligence database surveillance program in the history of mankind. That's all of us now in a surveillance database through Google and Palantir. And if they pull off HARPA, which they're working hard to do, I hate to say it, everybody, but it's over. we are had everything we do, say, write, all of it. They'll have it all. They basically have it all right now, everyone. That's going to go into the point where they're actually going to be monitoring our bodily activities and our biology. I did a show on the Microsoft patent. If you haven't seen the Microsoft patent, you need to watch that program. Microsoft, it has proposed a patent to surveil the biometrics of everybody in the world, but starting with America, to surveil our biometrics and tie it to a Bitcoin payment system. So at your employer, when you're working, this system will be monitoring your activity, what you're doing, your behavior. It'll be monitoring your activity and behavior off work, and that will be tied to a digital currency that will be tied into Bitcoin. More to come on that, everybody. Anyway, more comments to come. The CIA has very surreptitiously, through its fake technology arm, NQTEL. NQTEL is all over Silicon Valley tech companies. At least 1,000 were started by CIA NQTEL. And as I mentioned, CIA's fingerprints are all over Google. So CIA has control of Silicon Valley. Silicon Valley, everybody, is part of the shadow government. And we're going to dig into that. And they're watching all of us. And they have this information on all of us already, and they're trying to push towards an artificial intelligence controlled global economic system. And that is not an understatement. I'll be doing programs on that. It's very complex. I'll be doing programs on that as we go along through these deep dives into the shadow government. It all comes down to this: the push by the World Economic Forum, Palantir, and others, HARPA, to bring forth what's called transhumanism. That is the merging of human biology with the merging of human biology with artificial intelligence. And I hate to say it, but the COVID vaccine is not a vaccine. It is gene therapy, where they're placing gene code through the vaccine into people. And I'll stop there. I may get into that in some detail later. But the idea is to have artificial intelligence capabilities, and they have them out there, and they're unbelievably complex, to insert genetic material, coded, fake, false, or we shouldn't say false, synthetic, man-created DNA to inject into human bodies to change the DNA of that human body and make it become a transhumanist. This is not an understatement, everybody. This is happening right now. And the World Economic Forum has come right out and said it. Bill Gates is behind this. He's come out right out and said it, especially with synthetic genetic code being injected into humans. More on Bill Gates later. This is why he and Epstein were such close buddies, although the press won't report it. Their relation goes back probably to the early 2000s. The press said, well, they met in 2011. Baloney. They go all the way back to 2003, where Jeffrey Epstein, who was into transhumanism, was working together with Bill Gates on transhumanism, and they've had that connection ever since, and I think some other connections at the Epstein Island and Epstein's house, and that appears to be the reason why the Gates just were divorced. This is horrific stuff, everybody. Absolutely horrific. As I wrap this up, I'll make some comments here in a moment. You can go to kevinshipp.com. I put regular posts out there, and all the documents that I blew the whistle on are there. Patreon.com, of course. And for people who want an alternative to Patreon, I'm on subscribestar.com, Kevin-Shipp. I'm on Twitter every single day of the week, where I post updates on this sort of thing. Amazingly enough, I'm still on there. Frankly, if they do ban me, that will be a relief. I hate Twitter. Anyway, I've got almost 97,000 followers, and so I can get this information out to them, so I stay on. I want to thank you all, because for your prayers, I get the most wonderful notes, in addition to the nasty troll notes and the notes I get from some of the hoaxes I've exposed. I get the most wonderful comments, emails, and postings. by good people out there saying they're praying for me. If it wasn't for that, I don't think I would be doing this, because it's dangerous, it's risky, it's not pleasant. And thanks so much to you all, my donors and patrons. As you know, I sacrificed my pension when I came out and blew the whistle on the CIA. So I depend on my donors and patrons to keep going, so I can keep doing this. This is, we're at a serious hour, everyone. We will go to an artificial intelligence, cashless society in America and eventually in the world. We'll be proving that over the next coming weeks. There's no doubt about that. It's coming. Right now, everybody, they have all of our personal information, everything about us, our medical information, everything about our medical information, our text, Gmails, phones. They have everything that we do, everything we say, our behavior, and that of our relatives and our loved ones. This is bad. The only way that I think is a solution is for me to educate you all on this and what's going on, so you can begin to prepare. And that's what it comes down, is preparing yourself. Can we ever reverse the shadow government? No. Can we ever reverse artificial intelligence's control over our lives? No. Will transhumanism reach a peak? I think it was Bill Gates said it should have complete control by 2030. Transhumanism probably will. So what you have to do is, number one, if you don't have a personal faith in God, get one. That's going to be your only protection. Number two, don't buy in to this system. Do not take any algorithm, anything implanted in your skin, anything injected into you, a nanobot, and the nanotechnology is down at the cellular level. Don't let anybody inject any sort of nanotechnology into you. Don't let anybody do anything like that to your body whatsoever, because they are converting the human body into essentially a human machine that they can control in many ways. And we'll talk about that in greater detail. This is serious, everybody. I've never seen anything like it in my 50 years of following this stuff. You'll be hearing more from me. I believe I have a higher authority protecting me. That's why I keep doing this. I'm still here. I'm still breathing even after all of this. So I think that must be true. Stay with me. Stay strong. Keep yourself informed. Don't buy the propaganda, and don't let them put anything in your body. All right, everybody. That's it for this program. I'll catch you on the next one as we dive deeper into this stuff. I will keep you informed regularly on this, probably for the next several years, as they continue to advance this insanity. Thanks for watching, everybody, and we'll catch you next time.